woods behind my house are always my sanctuary, a place of peace. For my golden retriever, Max, it was a giant playground. We'd spent countless hours out there, just the two of us. I never once felt unsafe. That all changed one crisp autumn afternoon. We were hiking deeper than usual, following a trail I'd never explored before. The air was still, the only sound the crunch of leaves under our feet. Suddenly, Max let out a sharp yelp and darted ahead, disappearing into a thicket of brush. I called his name, my voice echoing in the silence. No response. A cold knot of fear tightened in my stomach. I pushed through the branches, my heart pounding. And then I saw him. Max was lying on his side, whimpering. His back leg was caught in a rusty, old bear trap, the kind that should have been illegal for decades. Blood was matting his golden fur. Panic seized me. I was miles from home, with no cell service and a 70-pound dog I couldn't possibly carry on my own. I tried to pry the trap's jaws open, but they wouldn't budge. Max's cries of pain were gut-wrenching. I felt helpless, tears stinging my eyes, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. Just as despair was about to consume me, a twig snapped nearby. It wasn't a squirrel or a deer. The sound was heavy, deliberate. I froze, my breath catching in my throat. Peering through the deepening shadows, I saw a figure emerge from behind a massive oak tree. It was huge, at least 8 feet tall, covered in dark, matted hair. My mind screamed, bear. But this was no bear. It stood on 2 legs, its form unnervingly human-like. It was Bigfoot. Every rational thought I had evaporated, replaced by a primal fear. I was completely paralyzed. The creature took a slow step towards us. Its eyes, dark and surprisingly intelligent, weren't fixed on me, but on Max. It let out a low, guttural sound, almost like a soft rumble. I expected it to attack, to finish what the trap had started, but it didn't. Instead, it knelt down beside Max, its massive frame dwarfing him. Its movements were gentle, cautious. It reached out a huge, leathery hand, not towards Max, but towards the trap. I watched, breathless, as its powerful fingers wrapped around the steel jaws. With what seemed like minimal effort, it pulled them apart. The trap sprang open with a loud clang. Max yelped once more, but this time it was a cry of relief. He scrambled away from the trap, dragging his injured leg. The creature watched him for a moment, then turned its gaze to me. We locked eyes for what felt like an eternity. There was no menace in its expression. No agresión. I saw something else. Something I couldn't explain. It felt like understanding, maybe even compassion. It had a deep-set sadness in its eyes, a look of ancient wisdom. It felt like it was seeing right through me, into my very soul. It then did something that shattered every monster story I'd ever heard. It carefully scooped Max into its arms, cradling him like you would a child. Max, who would bark at the mailman, just whimpered softly and laid his head against the creature's chest. It was the most surreal thing I had ever witnessed. It stood up to its full, towering height and began walking, not deeper into the woods, but back in the direction of my home. I was too stunned to do anything but follow. We walked in silence for what must have been 20 minutes. The creature moved with a silent, graceful stride, easily navigating the uneven terrain, even while carrying Max. It seemed to know these woods like the back of its hand. As the trees started to thin and the lights of my house became visible through the woods, it slowed its pace at the edge of my property line, where the forest meets my backyard. It stopped. It gently lowered Max to the ground, laying him carefully on a soft patch of moss. It looked at Max, then back at me one last time. It gave a slight, almost imperceptible nod, a gesture so human it sent a shiver down my spine. And then, as silently as it appeared, it turned and melted back into the shadows of the woods. It was just gone. I rushed to Max, who was now licking my hand, his tail giving a weak thump against the ground. I got him to the vet. The diagnosis was a deep laceration and some torn ligaments. but the vet said he was incredibly lucky. The trap could have easily shattered the bone. He said it was a miracle. The leg was freed so quickly and cleanly. I've never told anyone this story. Who would believe me? They'd say I was hallucinating, that I was in shock and imagined it all. But I know what I saw. My dog is alive because of that encounter. It wasn't a monster from a horror movie. It was a protector, a silent guardian of the woods. That day changed everything for me. I no longer see the forest as just a place of trees and trails. I feel a presence there, a quiet, watchful intelligence. I've gone back many times, leaving apples or jerky at the edge of the woods as a silent thank you. I don't know if they're ever taken by the creature, but it feels like the right thing to do. It made me question everything we think we know about the world, about the creatures we share it with. We paint them as monsters because we don't understand them. But what if we're wrong? What if the real monsters are the ones setting the traps? My dog was saved by a creature that most people would run from in terror. He lifted my injured dog like a friend, not a beast. I owe it a debt I can never repay, and I will carry the memory of those intelligent, sad eyes with me for the rest of my life. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've had a similar, unexplainable experience, I'd love to read about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the edge of our known world.